You're listening to 17 Carat K-Pop, the show that's a little bit of everything with a K-pop twist. Visit 17caratkpop.weebly.com for more information about the show. That's 17caratkpop.weebly.com. Enjoy the show! Hello everybody and welcome back to 17 Carat K-Pop. Today on the show I am so excited because of all of the new Super M and NCT content we've been getting lately, and we have to talk about it all. My Super M album recap, a summary of the announcements that their press conferences have revealed, and a bunch of stuff to look forward to, additions to my music video, symbolism theories, and all of that. There's just so much to get into. We are just going to dive right in today. We've had a couple of teaser videos released already for this new project, which looks like NCT 2018 did, where all of the members from all the subunits are coming together for an album release, and this one is a two-part one, so this is so exciting. We had the new Super M album released the other day. NCT Resonance Part 1 is coming out in October, and then NCT Resonance Part 2 will be out in November, and then NCT 127's Japanese release Loveholic is coming out December 23rd. I'm going to make a prediction really quickly right now, so mark my words, and if I end up being proven wrong, pretend this never happened. But if I'm right, let's celebrate, because my prediction based on the timing of the NCT releases is that the plan is for NCT to be a performer at the virtual Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade this year. Now, I have no insider knowledge to know that for sure. I'm totally speculating, but the timing works out really well that they could promote music that was already released and don't forget to check out our part 2 that's coming out soon to hype that up, or if it's already out by then in November, they can promote the Loveholic release. It feels like the timing is aligning for that to happen, so fingers crossed. With the live stream where they debuted the 2 new members to show that now NCT has 23 total members, the other things they talked about besides the album being in 2 parts is that they announced that Resonance Part 1 will be out in October and then Part 2 in November. And it sounds like, they didn't specifically say this, but it sounds like based on the song descriptions that Part 2 will be very EDM and hip-hop focused, or at least more so than Part 1, which sounds like it'll have some softer pieces and ballads and stuff. There will also be some new, never-before-seen combinations of the members together, with Taeyeon being in 3 different content units. One is Taeyeon, Yuta, and 10, TYT, which is just great, and I need a better word for great, actually. I mean, Taeyeon biased people, we are thriving with this news, not to mention that we have Taeyeon's Communication Center YouTube videos now, and so much to look forward to from Taeyeon. And, when will your fave ever be promoting in more than one comeback at once? But that's the power of Super M in NCT. Anyway, side fangirling rant over. So the content units will have a bunch of Taeyeon content, and then the song units will be split up for the following songs: Make a Wish, which is a dance pop song; From Home, which is going to be a multilingual ballad; Volcano; and Deja Vu, which will be NCT Dream reunited with Mark, which I am so excited about. And I love that it's called Deja Vu because that word really will get my mind going about all of my theories later, so stay tuned for that. They also announced that an NCT World 2.0 reality show is in the works, so it will be available on Mnet, and so on Mnet's YouTube channel, it sounds like it will have English subtitles and other subtitles, so stay tuned for that. And clearly we are all super hyped for this NCT 2020 release because the live stream where they announced all of this stuff had, are you ready for it, how many hearts were put on the live stream video? 2,310,216,334. And the amount of views it got was over 12 million. 12,510,935. We absolutely, literally love to see it. And then there's all the Super M news this week. The quickest recap I can give you of that is that they performed their new single on Ellen, September 23rd. Their reality show Mtopia just premiered. They won an award at the Indonesian TV Awards. They have this collab announcement with Marvel. A lot more will be announced in the future with that, but so far it's just a merch line with Marvel. They also made it sound like their V Lives are going to become a more regular thing. So, not just sporadic, but maybe we'll get like a weekly update from them. That'd be really great. They also continue to tease in interviews that they're going to have a lot more online fan meetings or concerts, some sort of online way to connect with fans. So, fingers crossed for a variety of content there. And, of course, the biggest Super M news of late is that they released their first full-length album. So, I want to give my quick review of it, and then I'm going to really dive into my NCT and Super M music video universe theories. I have a lot of additions to those theories to share now that we have more NCT 2020 teaser videos and pictures out that I've really dissected a lot, as well as more Super M content to look at through the music video. There's so much to get to, so really quick, I'm just going to share my review. So, Super M's new album, Super 1, is out now. Every song flows together really well. I know I'm insanely biased as I review this, but I really, as biased as I know I am, I still must insist give Super M their Grammy for this one. Honestly, it is so well done because each song just flows into each other well, and it's just so impressive. It starts out with such a bang because it starts out with the song 1, where they combine the songs Infinity and Monster together, and so that is like what they did with Sherlock, which was a mix of Clue and Note, two different SHINee songs. So SM Entertainment is so impressive because they always think like 7 steps ahead of everybody else, where some artists are remixing their songs or they're releasing an acoustic version or whatever, but SM Entertainment thinks beyond that. Now they're at the point where their new version of a song is a mashup with another one of their own songs. It's just so impressive how they never fail to surprise me with the ways they mix and create songs at SM Entertainment. So that I really like is that 1 is a very unique combination. I also think it is smart marketing-wise. First of all, for longtime members of the SHINee world, longtime K-pop fans who really liked that clever combination of songs for SHINee that was released years ago, and we're excited then for this new 4th generation, 5th generation, whatever you want to call it, group Super M to do the same thing that an older group did, so that just piqued people's curiosity. Second thing that was smart about this from a marketing standpoint is just that it was a great way to build up more anticipation, because the 1 music video and the 1 song in general, because they performed it early on Ellen, that song was out there in the world before the separate songs. So it really got me extra curious, and it kept me thinking about Super M, which was so smart of them to do, by releasing 2 songs at once, basically, but it got people wondering, what each song sounds like when broken apart, and so that just got my curiosity. Also, I would just want to say really quickly, congrats, because the video got 714,000 likes within the first 24 hours, and it also had reached 4 million views. 3 million were probably mine, but still, big deal within the first 24 hours. So the first song on the album starts out with a bang. It's a mashup of other songs that appear later in the album. So then 1 and then Infinity, which I have to say is my favorite, as basic as that sounds. But dare I say I like it even more than Jopping. And this one particularly I love just because, as I've talked about before on the show, in the episode, I think it's called Autism and K-Pop, about my experiences with autism. Being autistic makes me my 5 senses become very, very extra reactive to situations, and so music is such a great therapy for me because it really does make me feel things in a way that is so intense compared to what neurotypical people feel when they listen to music. It took me years to realize that not everyone feels music as intensely as I do, but here we are. So anyway, Infinity is just such a great song for me. When I say that a song feels good, you know that that's from me, if I say that that's me talking about how, as an autistic person, that song is my newest form of sonic therapy. So Infinity is definitely that for me. I haven't felt that excited in oddly calm because I'm excited and my neurons are finally realigned and I can just focus on one thing at once, and my senses are not as scrambled, and I just feel empowered and just confident and ready to take on the world. I haven't got that great burst of energy from a song since Kick It, which came out in March of this year. So just really, just for me personally, I really appreciate this song being out in the world. So thank you, Super M, for that. And Monster comes right after that. So that's obviously a bop too, but I just wonder, is there some sort of unwritten rule out there that every song with the title Monster has to be a bop? Like Big Bang, Irene and Sugi, yeah, like, and then of course XO's Monster, which is beyond classic. I just, it's like, what is it about songs called Monster? Anyway, then they sing Wish You Were Here, which is just a really nice song. It's one of those that you can't hate anything about, I think. That's what I thought when I was listening to it, is this is one of those songs that everyone should like. So the objective music critic even will say that's a highlight of the album, I think. Big Chance, it comes after that, and that's one of my personal favorites too. The first verse with Taemin and Ten's vocals, I just want to stop for a second to appreciate those. So anyway, then they released 100, so the action really is a roller coaster on this album. They do a great job of constantly, it's up and down in terms of high energy and then more chill songs. And so Wish You Were Here was chiller, then we have Big Chance, which is kind of on the rise, and then that climax at 100, and then Tiger Inside. Then Better Days, so back down on this roller coaster analogy. Better Days, I think, has the best lyrics on the whole album. It's really great also for Tae-unbiased people. I think this one is a highlight. And my favorite lyric, personally, from the entire album has got to be from Better Days. The quote, "Rise up from the madness like a phoenix from the ashes," which pretty much sums up how we all want to get out of 2020 somehow. So really appreciate that message. Together at Home is after that, and what I first thought when I heard that was that it reminded me of what EXO is always so good at, which is the video game sound effects style song, but not in a bad way. Like with Obsession and even that like Kahoot music song, Jekyll, or the other ones that sound like video game intros. Power sounds kind of like a video game. Obviously, NCT 127 has the whole video game concept from the final round era. So anyway, I just Together at Home felt like SM Entertainment was at home with producing that song. It really pulled off that vibe that is just so uniquely SM Entertainment, to get that earworm in your head just like playing a video game, which I just really appreciate. I also think that if there's a selfie cam video for any of these, which there tend to be for B-sides on K-pop albums, it should be for Together at Home. I want to see that video. Drip comes after that, and Taeyeon said in the Super M press conference for this album that a music video was filmed for that track, but he doesn't know when it will be released, but it is coming and it exists in the world, which is just super exciting. Line 'Em Up has this really unique flute sound that I really like. Dangerous Woman is next, and that sounds just as good live, which impressed me. Then Step Up, So Long, and then With You, which is another song that I thought they sounded really good singing, even just the live version, so that was impressive. So overall, just a really great, well done body of work. I did expect it to be good, but I do think it exceeded expectations. I just really, again, it's Infinity that sealed the deal for me. That one song is all it takes for me to feel like an album really is appreciated by me and is one of my favorites of the year. So I just love that song, and I'm so grateful to it. Hard for me to put into words how much certain songs mean to me when they are my therapy in that way. So the overall themes of this album that they addressed in the press conference, and that are clear just by listening to the album, one is unity, really coming together, which is what Super M was all about. It was created with members from different K-pop groups all coming together for this one group, and it's this togetherness is needed to weather any storm. And if there's any moment where we as a society, as a global society, need to remember that we are all united and we are all affected by this pandemic and we're all living through the same struggles, the more we realize how interconnected our world is, the better and more equipped we will be to get out of it and come out stronger on the other side. So their message of unity and combining different things, different cultures, different backgrounds, different voices, different band experiences, all of that together. It has always been a core of what Super M was created about, and so that really showed itself through this album. Also, there's a mix of anthemic songs and then more sentimental songs, and so that's why I think this album is everything we need right now, because on one hand it's great to listen to really high energy songs right now that just cheer you up, but on the other hand, sometimes it's nice to listen to something emotional just because it's relatable and you feel like someone's reassuring you that your feelings are valid and that they feel them too. So it can go either way, but they mixed it up on this album. So they have the fun, distracting, empowering anthems mixed with the more sentimental, comforting songs. So number one takeaway is that this is embodying that concept of unity they appreciate so much. Number two is that it is a great mix of anthems and just more personal, comforting songs. And number three, my other takeaway is just that. Again, it embraces diversity as this superpower. I really was thinking a lot about this when, during the press conference, Taemin introduced himself in Japanese and Korean, and then Lucas introduced himself in Chinese, Ten introduced himself in Thai, so just it's always been very cool to me how this group just shows that we know what their message they're delivering is, and it doesn't matter if you don't speak a certain language, music is that universal language, and you could get what they're trying to say and how they relate to us and how we can all relate to each other, regardless of what are supposed barriers. So it's an interesting term, language barrier, because it's not necessarily a barrier to anything unless we claim it is and shut our minds off from it. So anyway, those are just all my thoughts from the Super M press conference and my first album listening. Those were my initial reactions and they still hold. I really liked that they addressed the odd eye concept, where they have like literally one color eye different than the other, or just the style choices in the Super M teasers for this comeback were very much a mix of different eras. And so the way that they describe this as like an odd eye concept, as in, alluding back to the odd eye era of SHINee, I don't think that was unintentional to draw parallels between different eras of SM entertainment artists' work, which leads me into talking about my big theories about SM entertainment and what we can discover and learn from the latest from Super M and into NCT, because their storylines really are so interconnected. After the break, we are going to dive into that. Get your "It's Sunny in Philadelphia" memes ready with the bulletin board and the red string drawing different connections to each other, because I'm getting into my huge super fan theorizing mode. So get ready for takeoff after this commercial break. My book recommendation of the day is to please check out, if you haven't already, this book. It's written by sociologists, and they basically underwent this whole sociology study where they were a fly on the wall in a couple of different houses. It's called Unequal Childhoods, and what they did is sat in on lives and took notes, and their overall conclusions and conversations they overheard. With permission, they published all of this insider information just about the differences between the ways we live in terms of class and race and identity, and it's just a really interesting way to get a better understanding of how other people live and how our lived experiences shape our thoughts, our worldviews, and all of that, and I just think it was a very eye-opening read. Also, from a sociologist's perspective, to me it was so interesting the ways that they were able to define and conceptualize ways of being and living, and not passing blame on any specific parent for how parenting looked, but just showing how the differences between parenting styles can be explained based on external factors. It was just a very, very interesting, in-depth look at life through a sociological lens. So it's called Unequal Childhoods, and I think it's just really important to understand people's lived experiences, and so please do check out that book if you can. It looks daunting and huge, but trust me, you'll fly through it. I found it so fascinating. If you want to feel like you're reading someone's diary, really, that's what it is, so please check that out. Before we get into my new additions to my whole theory, I want to do the quickest recap I can of all of the parallels I've seen and noted before on the show, and if you want more information about this part of the theory that I've already discussed, I go into detail in the episode called the SM Entertainment Universe. I also go into it in detail in several other episodes. House of Cards, K-A-R-D-S, that's a good one for this theory. Taemin, period, literally Taemin with a period, that's another episode that I think adds to what I'm trying to say. The EXO-themed episode. So there are a lot of episodes to go back to if you want more context here, but we're just going to breeze through a recap of what I've already talked about on the show. So, the bottom line that you need to know from what I've talked about before is that the parallels are constant and intentional when it comes to NCT subunits, songs, and concepts paralleling each other, and NCT concepts paralleling the concepts of other SM entertainment groups. Particularly, we're going to focus on NCT, EXO, Super M, Red Velvet. Those are the main four, really, that we're going to spend the most time on. So, there are three categories of these parallels. One is lyric parallels. So, NCT Dream had Quiet Down, NCT 127 had Sit Down. NCT Dream and NCT 127 both released songs called Boom. NCT Dream has a song called My First and Last, and NCT 127 has a song called End to Start. NCT Dream has a song called Puzzle Piece, and NCT 127 has a song with a lyric that says We Can Solve It. Super M and NCT 127 both have songs called 100. NCT 127 has a song called Dreams Come True, and NCT 2020 has announced that they have a song coming out called Make a Wish. Super M released the song Drip, and NCT Dream has a song called Dripping. EXO, Super M, and Irene and Seulgi all have a song called Monster. Super M has a song called So Long, and NCT 127 has Long Slow Distance. NCT U has Without You, and Super M has With You. And lastly, Wavy has a song called Bad Alive, and Super M's One song has the lyric Everything I Do to Feel Alive. Second category are the sonic parallels. So there is a little elevator ding noise that's in several NCT videos connecting them together. That actually is not just me going overboard, obsessing over theories and details. That is actually a hint, an Easter egg that was intentionally used. That was confirmed by Jaehyun when he was talking about the video. So that one is actually legit what they added to, both intentionally. Other things, though, that have not necessarily been confirmed but seem pretty intentional. There's this echo sound that reverberates throughout the scene in the Turn Back Time Wavy video at the very beginning that parallels the echo type sound in the NCT 2020 teaser videos. And there's also this one is a little more far-fetched, but whatever. So there are some elements in the song Non-Stop by NCT 127 that sound a whole lot like the pieces in the song Infinity by Super M. So Non-Stop and Infinity paralleling each other. That would be a weird coincidence. Third category are the visual parallels. So they have several settings that are just actually the same. Or that there's this like icy tundra type setting, like Red Velvet was there for the Bad Boy video, and that was also where Tiger Inside was for Super M. Then there's the white room in the Criminal video from Taemin that looked like the back on black room NCT used. They all seem to be in a room with a TV a lot, which we're going to get to the importance of later. There's this recurring theme where a character in the video stops to stare at the sky. So from the Super M touring posters to the regular video to the We Go Up video, NCT and Super M characters seem to stop when everyone's a blur around them they just stop in the middle of a busy street or whatever and stare up at the sky and are staring up into another dimension of sorts, which we will return to momentarily. And lastly, so this is from the NCT 2020 teaser pictures, there was the structure in the background that looks kind of like a spinning top, or like the metal skeleton of a spinning top, a giant one. So kind of like a Twister ride at a county fair or something. And you know what that reminded me of? The amusement park ride from the NCT Dream Ride-In video. But that one was fully done and lit up and everything. But this is like the skeleton of that structure. So like the worn down remnants of the NCT Dream structure. So I feel like that's there intentionally. So keep that in mind. Lastly, there is this elevator that keeps showing up in SM Entertainment videos, where that happens a lot in Red Velvet videos, like when Joy was the conductor for the elevator, but especially for NCT, they literally have a song called Elevator, but also there's this metal elevator in the middle of the scene in the teaser pics and constantly throughout the teaser videos for NCT 2020. So keep your eyes on that elevator. I feel like that is huge. That has to do with how they transport themselves to different dimensions. That is important to keep in mind. So now let's talk about transportation. Transportation is a constant theme in SM Entertainment videos. Cars, planes, helicopters, trains, all of that. And it all may seem like that means nothing, but Kai said in the press conferences and such for promoting Super One, the album, he's been talking about how Super M intentionally has all that transportation in their videos because they literally want to, make their music feel like it's transporting listeners to a new place. And especially this year when travel restrictions are all over the place, it's nice to just visually escape and see the trip and go on the trip in your mind at least. So why am I bringing this up? Isn't that just the bottom line? Like, what else is there to dissect from this? There isn't anything. I really like, sometimes it's nice for just a change of pace for them to just tell me outright what the theory is and how deep it goes or doesn't go. So, so I'm going to spend my time theorizing about other stuff. This one is pretty cut and dry, but worth mentioning anyway, and I appreciate sometimes the metaphors that do not require digging to truly get to the bottom of. So there's literally just the thought of transporting you somewhere, and that is clear with the Super One video that they're continuing that trend. So they also continue to, I think, intentionally play with colors, SM Entertainment artists. So red light seems to be consistent with Big Change. There is a bright red light at Mark's feet in the 2020 teasers, so keep in mind that. Put a pin in that thought because we will talk about that again shortly. Also, there's the red lighting in Taemin's video for Move, in EXO's video for Obsession. Also, in Super M's one video, there are red lasers that are responsible for cracking the ground like an earthquake and causing all this destruction and explosions and all of that. So the red light is a recurring theme. I also think that SM Entertainment plays with color with the color black. So black absorbs everything and white reflects everything. So the fact that all the NCT members wore black for the back on black comeback, I just feel like that is meant to show that they're we talked about that a lot, about how they are not trying to reflect their surroundings, they're trying to just absorb it, and we talked about that a lot in a previous episode. But yeah, I think the black color is symbolic here. So what I would look out for in NCT 2020's releases in terms of color symbolism is pink, yellow, and black again, because there are these balloons in the background of those teaser pictures. And sometimes they're pink, but in one other setting, there are light yellow ones, and then black ones next to it that look heavier, like way down. I don't know if you would call it like a lead balloon, but it's lighter yellow and then heavier black balloons next to each other, and I feel like that's important to keep in mind. And then there's suddenly just like light pink balloons in a different set of teaser pictures. So those are the colors and the prop I would pay close attention to going forward. As for shapes, color shapes, it is SM kindergarten right here. So we're going to talk about triangles. So my quickest recap of what I've said before in my NCT theory are that the triangles are a huge symbol here. So the SparkNotes version of my theory is that the law of attraction, which has to do with how much positive or negative energy you get in the world, and that what you put into the world is what you get back. So put good into the world, get good back. It's kind of just the concept of karma, but you attract what you create. What we mirror surrounds us, and what surrounds us mirrors us. That's what the law of attraction is all about. And the law of attraction tends to be described with a triangle concept, because you have the manifestation, the physical action toward the goal, and then the metaphysical actions. So visualizations, manifestations, and then the physical actions. So it's a triangle of ways to achieve this sense of enlightenment, I guess you could say, or good karma, whatever it is, it's usually described with a triangle concept, which looks like the triangle shape that NCT members posed in during the Boss promo in 2018. So I talked about that a lot, and I won't go too much more into it, but so the NCT teasers that predated Wave V's debut as a subunit showed the mirror reflection of the sides of the circles, and it just showed that mirroring concept again, and all these parallels between the groups, again through lyrics and sounds and everything, seem to have to do with that mirroring concept as well. And the circles all align in that teaser photo in a way that looks kind of like the ways the Earth, Sun, and Moon all line up during an eclipse, which you could also call a red moon in some cases. So basically my long convoluted theory got to the point that the law of attraction diagram is alluded to, which also connects to the concept of a lunar eclipse and what that looks like, which connects to the concept of what a red moon symbolizes, or what any full moon really can symbolize. So just keep that in mind for now. And also this was added to with the latest from Super M, because there was that levitating pyramid, which is a triangle in a way. So the next level triangle in that video, the pyramid, was symbolic. So keep that in mind. Okay, so we talked about triangles and pyramids. Really quickly, let's also talk about ovals and circles. So if you recall in the NCT Boss video, there was that giant round table type, literal round table type discussion happening with all the microphones. Wait, this may be Simon Says, but the point is there's an NCT video where they are having a group meeting in a sense in this big circle. And then all of a sudden, it looks like they're back to that location, but the table and the mics are gone, and it's just all of the NCT members forming a circle. So it's kind of like either they came to a resolution during that meeting, or they decided to give up trying to reach a resolution. So just keep that in mind. I feel like that setting and the fact they formed that circle is intentional. So those are all of the little details that I would keep in mind going forward. Now let's talk about the new content. So my SM entertainment artist theories that I have really been working on editing over time, I have finally, I think, found a way to articulate in a way that makes more sense than it has in the past, I think. So there are 3 huge parts of this. One is that we are talking about that concept of the world within a world, the dream within a dream. This is layers of dimensions here, where you have, these dream levels, it's an Inception style situation here. You have, sometimes they're in a video game, or they're in a movie, or maybe that's a movie within a game, or a game within a movie, or a game within a movie within a dream within a movie. It's a whole thing. So just know that there are so many layers to the universes, and that all of the SM entertainment artists seem to constantly be unaware of which layer they are in, and if it is an illusion versus how much is reality. They seem to constantly be questioning that, and unaware that sometimes someone else is pulling the strings. So examples I've given in the past are in the Red Velvet video, where one of the members is pulling their puppet strings, and they're literally like puppets when you zoom out. There's also a time where you zoom out and you see a clone of Sulgi basically being the boom operator in a shot. There are other scenes where there's a literal curtain call. There's an auditorium setting. There's the scene where Taemin is pressing pause or play, controlling the movie projector, or when it's turned off completely. So there are a lot of references to different layers of reality here. And this was all added to by the very end of this new Super M video, where we see Taemin in a field and he just flips on his phone, and it looks like he might have been just watching this whole movie on a phone, and it was, or maybe it was just a dream. It's some other level of existence here, and that is a key concept that they deal with. And this "is it all just a dream" stuff is at least some of what I'm saying here is confirmed to be what is happening for the most part, at least through the lyrics. So there was Mark with his verse about, we're dreaming together, my dream will help you understand me, eyes closed, this isn't just my monologue. So all of those allusions to knowing this is all surreal in a way, but also real. Then there's Johnny's monologue from the Regulate album, where he said, all that we see is but a dream within a dream. So that continues to happen. There's also the concept of clones here a lot and other doubles, which is related to the concept that some of this is a movie or a dream. It's all about wrestling with the concept of yourself and how much yourself is part of this act you're carrying out for a movie or a play versus how much of it is who you really are behind the scenes. And so the backstage versus front stage metaphor is taken quite literally as they come to terms with their identities. That's my overall interpretation of why we keep seeing clones pop up in SM artist videos. They play with that alter ego concept a lot. There's EXO fighting their anti-selves. There's the Red Velvet members who got cloned and they have the whole conveyor belt type concept. There's Taemin's criminal video where he's got the mask, literally wearing a mask, and there's the Taeyeon clones that we see in the Super M teasers. So I could go on and on, but the point is that they constantly are referring to other selves. And so the latest updates to that concept or that in the Super 1 teaser, we saw that Taemin has these clones that are either past dead or dead, but they're lying on these stairs. So the stairs that form into the shape of a pyramid. Also, in the Infinity video, or the one video, if I say Infinity video, I meant one, but anyway. So that one, there is this lyric called I'm the Other One. So that lyric, I'm the Other Ones, made me think, oh, you're like one of the alter egos here. And also there are these clone-like moments where it's not really a clone, but it kind of looks like there are more sides of them, literally because they're surrounded by mirrors. Kai has that moment, Ten has that moment. So I do think that was an allusion to these dual selves, and they're trying to come to terms with how much of those selves are real and how much are not. And so the bottom line here is that their memories are kind of distorted, and they're not sure what's real and what's not because of these movie versions of themselves existing, and it makes it hard to know how much who they are is just a character versus how much they really authentically believe that they are who they have been portraying themselves to be. So that was part 1 of my overall theory. Part 1.5, I'm saying because I'm just going to say this pretty quickly, is that my theory has this subplot where some of the dimensions we're talking about are heaven and hell, and one of them is that my theory is that WayV members are in hell, and they each represent one of the 7 sins, and we already talked about all of that. But so WayV are in hell, and I think what's added to my thoughts about that are 2 things. One is that in these teasers, Win is in the front and center. Like, he gets, not always in the center, but in one of them he gets to be in the front. He's calling the shots again. Like, he feels to me like he's going to be a big character going forward, especially because remember his character arc is that he basically left 127 and then came back as this sort of regal figure he was given a sash and a robe and everything, and then he basically was celebrated for evading the 7 sins is what I'm thinking, and that's why he became lionized. And then he's posing in front of the metal elevator in the teaser images. So my theory is that Win actually used the elevator to bring the new members to NCT at their current dimension. So if they need to travel between dimensions, they use that elevator, and Win is like the conductor that helped move them out of hell back to wherever the other members are, or maybe he brought them to hell and he's secretly an evil villain, I don't know, but I think his character has a lot up his sleeve, so keep an eye on Win. Also, the second thing that added to my thought that WayV are the members in hell is that there is a detail I don't think enough people are talking about from these teasers where one of the members of WayV was sitting in this, like, I don't know if it was an electric chair or just like a chair with restraints on it, but there was some definitely hellish situation there in the teaser, so I definitely feel like that is a reference. So my second theory is that, and these are, by the way, not just separate as in, I'm separating them by topic and not because I think one of them is true and the others are not. I think all of these are true to an extent. So the second part of this whole overall theory is that SM Entertainment artists show that we all have our own form of a superpower or magic, whichever word you prefer for it. We all have our powers, and our powers are just trying to figure out which outlet to be unleashed in. We just need the right environment for our powers to grow and be nurtured, and then we can show our superpower selves to the world, and we can all be our own superheroes. And that's what I think one of their lessons is, because Red Velvet members, for example, their magic manifests in the form of like actual magic. Like they have this witching scene, I guess you could describe, with Joy in the Peekaboo video. They have these clouds of smoke that show up and suck the girls into the closet in the Rookie video, and levitating the chess pieces in the Dum Dum video. They have actual like witchy magic in the Red Velvet world. Whereas in EXO's world, that the power manifests in the form of super strength or other super forces, like super ability to like throw fireballs or whatever, but they have like classic, I guess you could say traditional superpowers, and those seem to exist only in certain environments for them though. Mostly when they're on like the exoplanets as opposed to on Earth. So my theory update is that, oh, and one more thing, I think that the NCT videos constantly have a member levitating because of this magic theme. My theory about how Super M plays into all of this is that, first of all, Lucas was levitating in the last video, so that's a recurring theme. Second of all, in the Super 1 teasers, Taemin was lifting the cars over his head, so he has super strength now. So my overall theory is that EXO members, their form of magic and powers come out when they are on their exoplanet, or when they are somewhere else. And they lose those powers on Earth. And so my theory is that Super M are the band that gets to keep their powers on Earth, so that if you're just like wandering between these worlds and you're worried about coming back to Earth because you're worried that will cause you to lose your powers, you just need to see that they're just going to take a different form, but you'll still have your powers within you. And so that's what I think is their message, is that Super M is kind of reminding you that you don't have to ever give those up. And you may need, it'll be a learning curve, and you may need to figure out how to adjust to a new version of powers on Earth, but you can do it. And so I think that's part of it, like you'll never lose those inner powers, and Super M is the example of how you didn't have to actually give up your powers when you came back to Earth. I think that is their point there. And also, there's that constant symbolism of them feeling trapped. EXO members, they have the box in the background of videos like Obsession, and Lucky One, of course, where they're trying to escape the lab, and they're like literal lab rats. All of that, they're trying to escape that box, and I think that continues to be a theme here to keep in mind. They're trying to figure out how to escape, but escape at the right pace, because, like Kai, for example, he was trapped in that maze for the EXO videos, but he's also the character for the Super M teasers he seemed to be like watching a crash unfold. He basically tried to escape the maze, and maybe he did, but he escaped too fast, and so the car crash symbol there is don't go too fast in life kind of a thing, slow down. I think that's part of Kai's character arc there. He's not just the member who gets to like stand on a table and dance, although he seems to do that quite a lot. But so theory 1 has to do with these dream worlds and dreams within dreams, and that there are different levels of existence they're talking about. Level 2, or theory 2, is that this message is all about how we have superpowers in different environments that take different forms, but we all do have those supernatural abilities that may not be really supernatural at all. We can all be superhuman. And their third overall message that I'm guessing is we are one. Really, and I know that is technically like an EXO motto, we are one EXO, but I think that is actually a message that SM Entertainment wants to convey with the other groups too, not just because this new song is Super One, or the new album Super One, and it's all about that unity that I was talking about earlier, but I also think that all these Easter eggs, if they mean nothing else, if all of my theories are just me being just like a quote-unquote crazed fan who really is just overanalyzing a lot, if all of this proves to be nothing, the one thing that I do think is super intentional is just the fact that there are these symbols that connect different stories together, because on one hand they get fans talking and theorizing like I am right now, and that starts conversation and reminds people that we have this community that's interested in these videos and keeps the conversation going, which is how we are into the same things, and it's just a way to form a commonality among fans, and so build up that community sense. And then the other thing is that with these artist videos being connected, it just shows that it's a way for them to show that their ultimate value as a company in terms of what they want their artists to convey is constant. And no matter which specific forms or props are used to convey that message, they do want to make sure you get that message. And if you don't get it through one realm, you get it through the other's realm. If you don't see that message in an NCT video, maybe you'll get that message through an EXO video, for example. And they constantly remind us all that we are kind of under the same moon. We have the same tiger inside all of us. All of those symbols seem intentional here. The same moon, you know, they're in these new teaser videos, we saw a moment where you've got the big moon behind them. Obviously, Wavy has the moon theories. And then there's the red moon analogy I was talking about earlier with NCT 127 and the law of attraction and how we need to mirror what surrounds us only if it's good for us, kind of a thing. EXO obviously has a lot of moon references in their work. Red Velvet has a full moon in one of their videos. So the same moon continues to be a theme. The fact that we all live under the same moon, they also spread the message that we all kind of have this like inner tiger to unleash in a way, because there is a wolf in EXO videos and a wolf in Red Velvet's Really Bad Boy video. And I know this may seem like one of my aspects of a theory that is more of a stretch than the others, but I mean, come on. The tiger, at least, the tiger inside all of us. If the wolf connection is nothing, at least the tiger one, I think, is, because they've said themselves, Super M members, that the Sun Tiger inside was meant to be this empowering song to remind us that we all have this inner strength and this inner ability to find within us the ability to overcome any obstacle, and that tiger that can be unleashed inside all of us is something that seems to be also nodded to by other artists' videos and stuff. Taemin has a song that's just called Tiger. Mark is walking a tiger like as a pet in the regular video. So for NCT, so I would just keep all that in mind. So those are my three theories. We've got dream worlds, we've got superpowers on different planets, and we've got the message that we are all one at the end of the day, though, and that any diversity in our powers is a strength. So what I would keep an eye out for going forward, based on the teaser content and the video content, has to do with mostly with the monologue and what is said and shown during the monologue. The Resonance teaser video, that was called Interlude Resonance, showed that there were members walking up that staircase that turns into like this pyramid shape by the top. They were walking up that staircase, and it could have been, based on just seeing the backs of these members that were all dressed the same, it could have been, instead of a bunch of members, it could have been just one member and all of their clones walking up those stairs. So that was the image that flashes at the beginning of the Resonance video. Then this lighter falls to the floor and starts a flame, and then the action really starts in that teaser. So there are all sorts of really fast moving images throughout the video. Some key ones, though, are the metal balls are back, which I keep bringing up. Those are a key symbol through all of these teasers over the years from SM artists, so that's why I keep saying it, because it keeps showing up again. And there's another key thing. So there's the Kick It's image where you hear the voice say try again. There's the voice that says warning when there's an image of people and these mannequins in these glass cases in a room. There's this split second with the turn back time video, which ends the whole thing. There's also one other thing I'm going to point out in a second. So the Resonance video, if we stop and think about that. So the flame imagery is back, which we've talked about before on the show, on the Taemin episode especially. The flame symbol is still there. We've got the staircase in the pyramid shape. We've got the clones. The metal balls are back. We've got the kick it scene and then the try again voice, which is kind of like a video game moment. There's also that boxed-in concept again with people literally trapped in boxes in the form of mannequins. So that seems like a clearly intentional symbol. And a voiceover says warning when they show that scene of the people trapped in boxes, the mannequins that are in boxes. But I think that's a reference to a symbol of people trapped in boxes. And it all ends with the song called Turn Back Time. That feels very telling. Also worth noting here is that in that teaser, there were so many past NCT videos from all the different subunits that were shown, and believe me, I'm going very extra when it comes to dissecting the order of those video clips and how each member played a role or what moment from each video was used, and theorizing beyond anyone's wildest imagination about what all of those the order and the different characters represent. But for today's episode, and because I know sometimes I go way overboard just because I love NCT's universe so much that I'm not going to bore you with those details. But yes, I have a lot of theories about the order of those images as well that I'm working on. But for now, I will just say the one thing I've noticed is that the main music video, which really didn't seem to have a prominent role in that really fast, lightning-fast sequence of imagery, is the regular video from NCT 127. The regular video wasn't in there that I noticed. And so if that's the one that doesn't play a main prominent role in this rewind, it makes me think that all of these layered dimensions, if you zoom out at the outermost layer, the most self-aware, the most conscious of what is happening here, layer is where the regular video is taking place. So that office setting, that tech center really where people seem to be calling the shots and really directing this whole project. It's like we're living in a simulation basically, and the people behind the computer screens running the simulation are who are embodied in that NCT regular comeback era. And so I feel like they are out of the picture now because they're the ones watching it. That's why they aren't featured in this summary, because they are watching the summary that they created. They've been behind the camera the whole time. That is a theory I would put a pin in for later. So the other main teaser we've gotten for NCT 2020 is called The Past and Future. Some details that were really split second shown on the screen to keep in mind. Picture frame, this will all make sense at the end. So there's the picture frame, there's the metal elevator, there's this tech glitch happening in one scene, and then literal sparks start flying everywhere. There's Chunla, who is slouched over, I think that looked like him in that split second, in the elevator. So I don't know if the lightning strikes and then the camera pans to Chunla, who looks like he's slumped over. So I don't know if one of his clones just died in that scene or what, but something happened to him. There's levitation. Chunla is then surrounded by flames, and Yuta is seen looking through metal fencing. Also, it all ends with Mark. If you remember any of the things I just said, just remember this one. Mark has the last scene in this teaser video. He is the last one who gets to then, his arm is kind of reaching out toward the camera and then the screen goes to black. So he got kind of the last moment. So keep that in mind. The monologue I found very interesting and took note of a few things that were said during it. So here's my annotated version of the monologue you can hear from that teaser. Quote, "We are imputed to the community while living under a lot of influence, which makes general world of conscience just a buildup of sediments from these influences. Beyond the horizon of the sediment, there is another world named the unconscious. This world on unconscious is a world made of filtered events, emotions which are defectors that only respond to I. In the conscious world, it keeps expanding limitlessly from the deep sea," nice word use, limitless, you know what if you know, you know, "beyond the infinite universe," nice word use again with infinite. "We call this wave," and then there's this Korean word used, "created by filtration from the sea of unconscious. It is also a limitless medium and can connect dimension to dimension. People within people." That quote is said while Taeyeon is on the screen. Remember, he's the one who showed clones first, I believe, in the Super M teasers. Taeyeon's clones are a major part of this, and then he's on the screen when they say people within people. Seems intentional. "Emotions within emotions," when they say that Shunla starts raising his arms up and then that basically causes the flames to rise up with his arms. So I feel like he's got something happening now. Maybe maybe the lightning strike gave him those powers. I don't know. We spread ether infinitely through new journeys. Again with the word infinite. So all seems super intentional with the word choice there. And overall, that monologue shows that they recognize that this whole story is about different layers of consciousness in world building. Also, I would like to point out that the sentence, which are emotions are defectors that only respond to I, in the House of Cards episode, I really broke down that a lot about how the I and other parts of the self are described in psychology and how that can affect how much you believe is real versus not real, and who you are in public versus private, and how much of that is authentic and how much is an act. All of that has to do with the I, the ego, all of that. And I think they're alluding to being referenced by that strain of psychology for their storyline. So I would just keep that in mind and listen to the House of Cards episode for more. So that is the teaser content. So if we're going to tie all of this together, what are the main things that I would look out for? There are the movie cameras and references to this being a movie or a dream or some layered dimension. So keep in mind any reference to strings like puppet strings or cameras. There were also cameras in these new NCT teaser images, by the way. Not necessarily in the videos, but in the pictures. So the movie cameras keep showing up. Keep those in mind. Keep in mind clones and alter egos and anti-selves and things like that when they come up. Keep in mind some key characters like Win-Win, who is kind of a guide of sorts moving people between dimensions, if my theory holds. Keep in mind that metal elevator that he's using to transport people. I feel like it doubles as a time machine, so keep that theory in mind. Also, it seems like Haechan has a key role here because he's the character that keeps stopping to stare up at the sky when everything is going in a blur around him. So it's almost like he's getting called to another dimension. He can hear them calling while suddenly the time travel machine is about to kick into high gear. Just a theory. He's also a character who was swinging from that white door frame in one of the teaser images, and those door frames seem to be a symbol of the transition between worlds or levels or dimensions here. So keep in mind that elevator, the role of Win-Win and Haechan, and of course Taemin, because he seems to be one of the ultimate masterminds behind the camera this whole time. Keep in mind the clones and alter egos, the movie cameras, and keep in mind the cars and transportation, because it may have a deeper meaning than just getting to transport listeners to a better vibe or a comforting song or whatever. Because you never know. I do wonder sometimes when they say things like that Kai said about what the cars mean, and they say it in such a way that seems like, well, of course, I feel like maybe that there is more there, and that is just the extent to which they were allowed to tease us. Maybe they wanted to drop more specific teasers and information about the music video world, and SM Entertainment was like, nope, this is as far as we'll let you go with teasing content. And so Kai went that far, and that was all he could say. So maybe it's our job to elaborate further, and maybe there is more to elaborate on. So keep in mind the transportation, because it may lead to a deeper meaning that we're just unaware of as of now. Keep in mind the color schemes here. Also, we need to revisit at some point why there's this pink plastic, or I don't know, maybe it's made of crayon wax, this weird pink horse pony thing behind 10 in one of the teasers. We need to talk about that, because I've got no ideas about that. That's just there, and I think we should talk about it. Also, there's that doorway prop, the white door frame without a door, in one set of teasers. But in the other set of teasers, there is like a picture frame, and you see the Highway to Heaven scene. So again, that allusion to a new level here with Heaven, they on this like projector screen of sorts. So the main prop that switches and is no longer there in one set of teaser pictures compared to the next is either the picture frame holding this projected image of Highway to Heaven scene, or the that's replaced with a door frame to a new dimension. And so that proper placement seems important and symbolic. So the elevator, time travel, movie cameras, clones, references to past videos. We've got the metal balls, the color schemes here, transportation. There is a lot there, so keep your eyes peeled because I just feel like it feels like so much of the story has been told already, but we're also just getting started in a way. Remember, one of those teasers ended with an image of Turn Back Time, the video. So if Turn Back Time is our concept, we may be in for so much more. So really stay tuned. Also, keep an eye on Mark because, as I've said before, he was the one who had the final screen time. He also was the one that seemingly like broke the Matrix. That's literally a lyric in the new song and video. So in the one video, Mark is like punching the screen and he breaks glass basically. So he's basically busting out of the Matrix. So I do wonder if Mark is in all of these subunits, because if you know, there's so many jokes I can make, and a lot of End Citizens do about how Mark is in like everything, but maybe there's a deeper reason for that, storyline wise. Maybe, of course, we just love Mark and he can be in every subunit if he wants, but also I think maybe SM Entertainment views him as his character in this whole saga plays such a key role that he had to be in all of those different subunits. So I feel like maybe there's something there to think about more than just he happens to be the favorite of SM Entertainment. There may be a deeper reason why his character keeps showing up in different subunits contexts. So keep your eyes on Mark as well as Haechan and Win-Win and Taemin. So, if you are still super confused or like this doesn't make a lot of sense to you how the moon and the ways we're all connected and the law of attraction and parallels between our worlds, if you still don't get really how all of that comes together and what it all means, I got you. So just keep subscribing to 17 Carat K-Pop, checking out the show. Of course, you can subscribe now on the website to blog updates. So if you go to the more window, if you click more on 17caratkpop.weebly.com, click more, click blogs, and then click posts, I believe, and then you can see posts. You could also click more blogs and then subscribe, and subscribe is when you can type in your email and you can get the weekly newsletter update where I can be breaking down more of this with hopefully some diagrams and stuff more in the future, share more of my notes with you all, and continue to theorize about this. And also keep in mind that you're not supposed to make sense of all of this. The story is still ongoing, and part of the fun is to still constantly be speculating and adjusting and editing your theories like I do. So that's why we keep talking about this, and that's why it's okay to be a little frustrated. There are no clear-cut answers to anything I've said today, but that's the point. That's part of the fun. So enjoy the ambiguity of this whole universe and explore it and define it as you want. Make it your own. And so that's what I really love about what SM Entertainment has done here with their artists. They've given us work to reinterpret to our liking and to really personalize our experience with. Like I said with Infinity, for me I've personalized my experience with it. So I know my inner sociology nerd is coming out the way I'm talking, but that is a core part of what sociologists study about identity formation and why certain works of pop culture are so important to people. It's because we've personalized the experience. It feels very special to us personally because it became a part of us realizing who we are, what makes us happy, or what brings us joy or comfort. And so songs like Infinity remind me of why I love these groups. So anyway, enough sappy talk. That wraps up my overall summary and updates, and of course, I'll have more in future episodes. So, later this week, I will catch you up on tons of news in the world of K-pop, because we have a lot to catch up on. We have not done so in quite a while. So a news-based episode is coming later this week. Maybe more content this week. You never know, because I'm just trying to stay on the ball with what's going on in the world of K-pop. There may be a lot of news this week, who knows. So stay tuned, and thank you for listening. Also, I apologize. I know How to Stand usually comes out on Sundays, but I decided to flip the order this week. So today you're getting this episode, and tomorrow you can enjoy a new episode of How to Stand. So stay tuned. Also, if you subscribe to that newsletter, you will find a link to a playlist now on Spotify of all of the How to Stand episodes, so that instead of constantly trying to scroll through all the 17 Carat K-Pop content, and trying to scroll through the feed to get to the latest How to Stan you need to catch up on, you'll just see How to Stan episodes in one big playlist. So like that playlist, the link is in my latest newsletter, which it's free to access. Just go to my website for more. So thank you for listening, and stay tuned for more from me this week. And feel free to share this info with your fellow N-citizen or Super M fan or whatever. And yeah, fingers crossed that although I love the ambiguity, I really do hope that someday I get to ask NCT or Super M about all of these things I've been theorizing about. So we'll see what happens. So anyway, thank you for listening, and here's to more discoveries about this universe in the future. Bye, everybody.